Okay, here I am. Right, so what's happening here is that I got an offline PB yesterday afternoon, and I'm going to be playing it back here on stream and talking about it. Because I obviously want to submit the video with some commentary and that, rather than just having it be the run, especially for YouTube. Like, just the gameplay is probably not enough for that. So, without further ado, I suppose let's start playing this video back, and we can talk. So here's the reset. So the funny thing, I was actually watching a football match at the same time as doing this run, and I originally planned on just having the audio for the match and not having game audio. And I got to this point and realized that I use an audio cue for my splits, and figured out that that wasn't going to work. So I had to, it was already a bad run, so I was happy just to reset it. And yeah, and I did play with game audio in the end. Yeah, so pretty sure I got straight back underway here. Like that previous run, I just, it took me way too long to get first ME skip. I actually went for the ME counter at the beginning and got it, but it was not enough to save a bad split anyway. So we've got this run instead. I'm still kind of thinking that my theory might be true about like returning to the main menu and reloading again and getting a faster load. Like, I'm pretty sure it's like maybe almost as much as a second faster. Like, it's not the same every time, but I think it is a general pattern. So that's definitely a thing worth considering. I kind of botched the shot there, but nothing too serious. Obviously, like this first area of the game, I've now played through it so many times that it's about as consistent as any of my gameplay in this game gets. Just doing this climb. I'm still not actually sure which side is faster for this area. I've definitely seen people doing the other side. Okay, I kind of botched this a little bit. Yeah, not a great climb. But luckily, ooh, missed a shot there as well. And this opening isn't actually that great, because, spoilers, this is going to be a gold, so it turns out there's actually, like, still time save here. Yeah, okay, I got that really quickly, which is the thing that matters far more. Like, that's the thing, it was like, what, 5 shots for both of the hits there, which is probably about as fast as I've ever done it. I guess it must be as fast as I've ever done it, because it's a gold. I'll try not to give, like, too much away about what's going to happen here, but I think I want to talk about that then, so I don't know, I'll see how it goes. I haven't done anything like this before. I don't do that many offline speedruns, so this is a bit of a novelty for me to be reviewing an offline run on stream. But yeah, so got out of the ME zone there, like, not long after 2 minutes is really good for me. Still grab those missiles. I just like getting them early to have extras for Corpius. Like, given how much I hate even the 17 missile fight, I can't believe that the optimal route does it with 15 and no charge now. That just sounds awful. Like, I'm definitely going to move on from this game after this run, but if I ever come back, I still don't think I'm ever going to want to learn Corpius first. It just seems terrible. Not the greatest movement there either, really, like, coming into this room. But still nothing too serious yet, right? Like, I'm obviously, like, not at a level where a small mistake that cost me a second here or there is a big deal. I'm at a level where you need to avoid making, like, huge mistakes that cost me, tens of seconds or minutes. Emmy was in a little bit of an awkward spot there, but I think that Emmy, if you're fast enough, just can't actually slow you down. If you, if you know what you're doing. Can't believe I hadn't figured to, like, jump through the door into this room before. Like the last few runs I did. Just so much easier to be able to, like, snipe the bugs. And you get a bit of, like, free underwater movement, because you're, entering the water later on. Alright, some decent ledge grabs there as well. I actually can't remember if I got the good enemy spawn here or not. Yeah, I did. Okay. That explains it. It probably would have cost me the... Yeah, it would definitely have cost me the gold if I hadn't gotten it. Like, this is, you know, this is fast by my standards, but it's not absurdly fast in general. Ah, didn't get that one. It was a bit loose there as well. But yeah, we just clutch out a very narrow gold here. Yeah, like actually just incredibly, you know, incredibly close to not being a gold there. It was probably like, yeah, it was well under a second, that's for sure. Anyway, back through these rooms. Again, I just know them well. Oh, okay, I didn't get the slide jump there, though. Yeah, okay. I'm retroactively jinxing myself here by saying that these are rooms that I know. Got the damage boost there, though. So now off to the Corpius fight. It's another thing that I'm very inconsistent at. Like, it just feels so satisfying to have a good fight here, but it's pretty awkward. Like, you know, again, huge respect to those that are doing it with 15 missiles. I keep anticipating his head moving and it doesn't. Okay, I got there exactly. See, I'm so glad I got those extra missiles. Yeah, I got owned by that as well. And I couldn't find his head for a bit. Got a couple of decent hits in at the end there, but yeah, it's a pretty loose fight. Like, my gold is already done now, which is kind of ridiculous. I got good luck here with a bunch of, like, free extra missiles. Which is lucky, because the fight went pretty badly otherwise. But I would, like, I lost 15 seconds there, compared to PB, and I would have lost more if I hadn't been given those free missiles. Like, definitely what my bad fights there usually look like is me flailing around with Charge Beam for the last 3 or 4 hits. So I got a bit bailed out there. Like, the gameplay was pretty bad, but, you know, it could have lost me more time if I was less lucky. But still, there aren't that many splits in this run that I'm unhappy with, and that Phantom Cloak one is definitely one of them. Like, I know I could have done better than that. So I'm pretty sure everything here went pretty as expected.
Uploading data.
What am I supposed to do during these cutscenes here? There's nothing to talk about. Okay, yeah, got the... I don't think there's a bad enemy spawn for this visit to the enemy zone. Like, when he's behind you like that, you know, you just run past and it's all fine. Ah, grab the thing there as well. Yeah, I had enough missiles here that I didn't need to kill the guy. Which is definitely useful. I botched that cutscene skip. Got a few extra missiles to kill him with there. It was, you know, it's nice for that, especially for that first kill when you haven't got a very powerful beam yet. to have some extra missiles to finish him off. I think those first couple of shots went over the Emmy's head there, so it wasn't as quick as a kill as it could have been, but it's not far off. It was what I'm happy with, given that I have messed this one up once recently. In fact, it was the PB I'm running against here, right? Yeah, I'd lost 40 seconds on this split somehow, which I'm getting most off back here. Maybe all of. Was this a gold? Yeah, just again, it was a gold by a tiny fraction. I actually didn't look at what my best was at the start of this run, but I don't know if I've even taken a second off it with those 2 golds. I was super scared there that I was not, like, I was too far left and was going to fall and slide back down after I dropped off that magnet platform, but I was okay. I'm not sure if it's actually possible to be too far left there, but it looked like the possibility existed to me at the time. All in all, this opening like Artaria section went really well, apart from the Corpius fight. That was the only thing that I can complain about. Everything else I'm pretty happy with. If I do come back to this game at some point, I'm probably going to learn the fast strat for this room. Like, this magnet platform is just quite slow. And from what it looks like, it's not like that bad to do the fast strat with the damage boosts. And it looks cool. Like, it's just fun in speedrunning in general to do a room in a way that isn't intended. Yeah, see, these elevator cutscenes are usually my chance to get a drink during the run, but when I'm just watching it back, I can drink whenever I like, and there's nothing to do during them. I messed that up a little bit there. All in all, reasonable movement in here, though. Like, I definitely do feel like I'm improving at the general movement. Like, it's like, it's a kind of technical game to do really well, and I think like precise technical gameplay is one of my weaknesses as a speedrunner. But I think playing this game has helped me improve it a little bit, which is satisfying. Should hopefully be a skill I can transfer to other games. I also got the jump in this room the first time round. Actually didn't like miss it and have to wait for the guy to attack me. I messed this room up a bit, didn't I? Like, I don't... Oh no, I get them both killed on the way back down, that's right, then I saved it. Yeah, okay. So that was good. I need to learn... Well, I say that. Like, as I say, I'm probably going to move on from the game now, but if I do come back, if I say things that I need to learn, what I really mean is if I come back to the game, I need to learn. But, like, how to actually climb up that magnetic strip fast. I see people do it and it looks really straightforward, but I've just tried what seems like every possible set of inputs, and it just doesn't go where they go, so I don't know. Got the nice easy Emmy spawn here as well. Haven't had an Emmy spawn that's cost me any time in the run yet. Which is good, some of them can really suck. Like, I think this is probably my fastest ever time getting to this second thermal switch. If that was a split, it would have been a goal, probably. I did get the bad enemy spawn here, I think you can just go for this. Like if you're... Like if you get to the... Like to this corner where the door is quickly enough, you can just get through it slightly fast enough to not get caught there, but I didn't want to risk it. I haven't like practiced that, so I'm... You know, you shouldn't really do strats in runs you haven't practiced. Just as a general rule, so I'm... you know, I played it a little bit slow there, but it doesn't cost you that much time. I knew I was on a good pace anyway, so why risk it? I used to always miss the charge shot on that door, and I'm getting it all the time now, which is really satisfying. Like, that's just one of those things. One of my favourite things about speedrunning, honestly, is like watching yourself improve. When you like get things you didn't used to get, and get more consistent with things you weren't consistent at before. Oh, okay, I've watched that quite a lot. I'm not really sure if I forgot where I was going, or if I just messed up the jump and fell down. It's probably the latter. I haven't made a routing mistake for quite a while with this game now. Yeah, okay, I didn't get these guys killed where I wanted to. That's actually probably a room I should have practiced more than I did. Because, like, when I originally practiced this section, I did get to the point where I was kind of consistently getting decent movement in it. But because there were much harder things later in the game that I was practicing instead, I kind of neglected it after the initial practice section.
Uploading data.
Didn't get the bad enemy spawn here either, luckily. This is my least favourite enemy spawn in the game. I actually have literally no idea how to not get caught by it if it's like at the bottom of the shaft that you fall down there. I think I missed that shot again. That's definitely a thing that if I carried on playing the game longer is probably one of the next things that I would get more consistent at and feel satisfied by, but for now it's just a thing I miss all the time, unfortunately. Still, it's hard to be too mad about this run. I mean, so far we're 4 splits deep and we have 3 golds, so... Even though the other split was quite bad, it's a really nice run so far. Did I get this? Not quite. Yeah. There's another thing I should get more often than I do, though I do still get it. Maybe half the time. It's a nice little time saver when you do get it. I think I got bothered by this guy here. Yeah. But I luckily didn't fall all the way down. I messed up the charge shot at the end as well. So that room was quite bad, but... I don't know, I don't like any of the strats in it, really. See, that door was already open for me again. I don't really know exactly what's triggering that. I feel like sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I get up there and have to wait for, like, I don't know, a fraction of a second to have the door be open, but a couple of times it hasn't happened, and I don't know. I don't know if there's, like, some weird subtle thing to the movement there that I'm sometimes doing, sometimes not, but... Luckily it was there for me this time. I think that damage boost there might have helped, but it wasn't intentional. There's definitely some movement I really do struggle with in this first Diron section here. But, like, that's another thing that, like, I did put some time into a while ago and didn't consistently practice. Just because I had bigger fish to fry, but I think it goes pretty well here. Didn't get a spin jump at the start of the room, but other than that, I was all fine in the climb there. Okay, I was kind of lucky that I got smoothly down that one tile gap there. I'm pretty bad at shooting through that floor and then falling down fast. I messed up both of the enemy kills there. I got this slide jump though, which is a thing I have messed up a lot recently. I guess this is what I'm talking about when I'm saying I'm bad at the precise technical stuff. Like, this whole section is just like you need to do the right inputs constantly for like a minute. And a lot of the movement in this game can snowball if you get it wrong as well. Like, you learn it to do everything smoothly, and if you make a mistake at some point, then enemies will have moved to different places by the time you get to them, and then you will screw that up as well. And yeah, like you can just have a whole room that loses you 10 seconds if you're not careful. Right, practically tied PB there. I did lose a few seconds to gold, but it's not a big deal. As I say, I do struggle with the movement there, so anything close to, you know, anything that isn't losing time is fine. Those wide beam blocks absolutely suck, but like I found the best strat for them is just to like stand still briefly, you just pause for a second. It's not as quick as it could be, but like it's much faster than having to redo the charge. Like here I just release all of my inputs while I'm going through the, or apart from charge, while I'm going through the door there, and then just release the charge shot. And there again, I'm always close to being hit by the enemy there because I had pause for a second. But all in all, it was like a satisfactory foray into Diron here. I like that. That is absolutely a section where if I don't completely screw up any of the rooms, I'm happy with it. You know, I came out of there without losing like 10 seconds in one room, and that's good enough for me. Up against a pretty solid morph ball split here. Another one. You have to like shoot so many of those wide beam doors just after you get wide. It's obviously like, you know, it makes sense, right? Like the game is letting you use your new ability. But I do absolutely hate them. $15 missiles is plenty for this central unit. I got a drop from the first ring price shot as well there. I actually did run out here, but only yeah, I only had one shot left, so yeah, that was a solid kill all in all. I don't know if I'm like supposed to have learned the slide under there for the Emmy kill, but I'm content killing the Emmy from here. I've gotten the kill before the Emmy gets into the thing a couple of times. Don't get it here. I get a pretty solid kill. Like that's fast enough for me for sure. It's obviously a bit faster in the next segment if you kill the Emmy before it's come under the thing, because you can avoid sliding under there yourself on the way back. Not a big deal though. That's another split where I was pretty close to gold. I mean, like my gold was, well, my PV was barely behind my gold there, and I saved time, so yeah, very close. As I say, there aren't very many splits in this run that I'm unhappy with, and so far there's still only been one. And really that split was fine other than the boss fight. Like, Corpius is the only mistake this run has so far. Like, up until this point, this is basically a perfect run for a player of my skill level. I can't ask very much more. That was awkward. My Varia gold is actually like one of my weaker golds. I don't really understand why. Like, obviously I'm making a few mistakes here, but like in general it's a short split and it's not that involved. So it feels like it should be one of the ones where I've gotten closest to top players. But for whatever reason I haven't. Actually, that was the thing I hadn't done before, but I started doing when I was playing this game, is like comparing my golds to a top player's golds as like not like you shouldn't do that assuming you're going to get them close. Obviously, a top player's golds are going to be a lot better than mine, but it's to work out how good they are relative to one another. You know, like if one of my golds is like 15% slower than a top player's gold and another one is 5% slower, the 15% slower one is one I should be practicing. And that was just like a really nice way to know where I needed to work on. The movement in that room was awful. I botched that as well. Yeah, okay. At least I didn't grab the quarter energy tank. Maybe this is why my gold here sucks. I just can't do any of the movement in this section. Well, I think I did get this charge shot. Yeah, I did. That's pretty tough, actually. Like, I don't often get that. But it saves you having to charge when you're already up there. Probably like a second faster. But I've lost too much time already this split to get the gold here. Even though I think my, you know, my section here from when I hit the switch until Varia is pretty solid. Although I had to grab the ledge there. Yeah, okay. Like, again, this is not far behind my PB and or gold. And there were just a lot of mistakes there, so I know like, that is a gold I could have beaten by a decent chunk if I kept going with the game. I always mess up coming into that room. Like, I'm never really sure what I'm supposed to be doing. I think I don't want to bring a charge in there, and I always do. Other than that first room, though, I'm pretty happy with that movement. Getting back out of Artaria here. And now we have another segment that actually has meaningful time save in it. Although, obviously, the Kraid fight has a bunch of RNG involved. It's been a little while since I got perfect Kraid RNG. I had a period of maybe, like maybe 3 runs in a row where I had really good RNG, and since then I've been getting a lot of balls, unfortunately. It's funny how both this game and Link to the Past can have a good run be ruined by balls. At around about the half-hour mark as well. It's actually quite similar in terms of how far into the run it is. But a pretty decent approach to Kraid here. Can't complain about much of this. I think I get the slide here as well. Yeah, I get that thing destroyed and get to slide in. Yeah, just gotta pepper a bunch of missiles into Kraid's mouth. And, oh look, it's balls again. We get nail second, and we get a pretty quick kill after the nail section starts, so... Like, definitely not the worst RNG I've had. My mashing rhythm was just a little bit off this whole run, actually. Like, I didn't get that particularly fast on Kraid's belly either. So, like, bad RNG and a slow phase there was what was wrong with this fight, really. Everything else was pretty solid. Like, I'm landing most of these missiles that I can be. So I'm running low on missiles here, so I, like, yeah, kill a couple of... Wait and kill a couple of nails, and then, yeah, we're good to go. So all in all, I am saving a decent chunk of time versus my PV, which wasn't great, but, yeah, this is still a long way off my goal. This fight could have been better, but, you know, I got bad RNG, so I can't complain about this split either. Like, the fight could have been better, but not by an absolute ton. Though, interestingly, it's the two bosses that I fought so far are the only things in the run, really, that I'm not really content with. Which makes sense. Like, the bosses are hard to do fast, and they all, I guess, like the two that I fought so far, both have a somewhat of an RNG component, particularly Kraid. Corpius' RNG doesn't really matter if you're really good. You just get Corpius killed before it matters. I forget what I'm doing coming into this room as well. Often. Alright, early grapple time. It's been quite a while since I've missed this in a run, but it very much sucks if you do. Especially on the right hand side of the room, if you fail that half of it, you're just dead. Like, you're losing a lot of time at that point. Going back to the previous elevator. Or teleporter, I guess it was, we arrived on. That was all completely fine there. Nothing particularly gone wrong so far. The small section in Atari here to get grapple is pretty straightforward. It's a nice bit of a breather. Like, even that little movement mistake there is not significant. You can't lose big time down here. Another split there that was just incredibly close to gold. Grapple might actually be the most consistent split in the run. Like, if you don't fail early grapple, there's very little that you can actually do to differentiate times from one another. Decent exit as well. I've definitely not done the movement that snappily that often. I was absolutely, because this run was so far ahead, I was absolutely terrified about this grapple escape here, but I did just nail it, fortunately. Like, the jump on the right-hand side again in particular is just, it's really bad to fail it, but it's not hard, but it just makes me nervous when I'm this far ahead, but, you know, I wasn't going to not go for it. I do still get it a decent majority of the time. Just has me worried. It's a very good way for a good run to die. if I am moving on from this game now, then I can proudly say that I have never saved in a Metroid Dread speedrun. Like, I've not once accidentally saved. My movement here was pretty decent as well. I definitely messed this room up in the past. I mean, I took the hit there, but it's not a big deal. Like this section here and the Diron section, coincidentally 2 sections where you're like turning the power back on. Sections where, like, when I was brand new to the game, I was just dying in those sections quite a lot. Well, I guess I did die getting out of Diron comparatively recently, but like the first Diron visit, but for the most part now I'm not. Like, I'm managing my health a lot better and avoiding the dumb hits I was taking before. I got hit by that guy both times here, eh? That's fine. You can, like, you know, account for being hit a few times. You just make sure you don't get hit by everything. And that was a gold bombs as well. Yeah, okay. This run's great. This is the early game that I was supposed to have at some point. Like, I've had way too many runs that were not getting miles ahead of my PB, even though my PB had a pretty bad early game. And this is with 15 seconds lost in the Phantom Cloak split as well, so... Like, I could have been over a minute ahead at this point. This is another room I could use to use some work on. Just in terms of doing the fastest possible movement. Like, it still isn't a priority split. Like, this is not one of my worst golds by a long shot. In fact, my flash shift gold here is pretty solid, especially given that I'm not doing the infinite bomb jump to skip the door. Like the hell do you call them? The shutter. That's the thing. It's another strat I might look into if I come back to the game, but I'm not great at infinite bomb jumping in general, and like doing it side to side looks pretty intimidating to me. Doesn't save very much time either, I don't think. It used to save more time in the old unrestricted route because you didn't have grapple, but it saves not that much time when you've got grapple. Okay. My health, I didn't realise quite how low my health was at this point in the run. I was definitely a little concerned. Like, I knew that hit wasn't going to kill me, but I didn't realise it was going to put me down quite this low. Like, the enemy that I'm going to counter in the next room here hits pretty hard, and if I made a mistake in that room, I could have died. Yeah, I got dragged in by that guy as well. Again. Yeah, this is definitely a section that could use some work, honestly. Like, for the most part, it's okay, but... I am losing a few seconds in almost every room. Which isn't a great recipe for success. If I did that over the course of the whole game, I would definitely not be getting the times I'm getting. Well, I messed up the cutscene skip again there as well. I think I might actually have saved time versus PB if I hadn't. But still over 50 seconds ahead, which is basically exactly where I want to be at this point, so... You know. Another split that I can't really complain about. It was fine. It wasn't as good as I could do, but it was fine enough. I messed that up again. I haven't done that for a couple of runs. I just didn't get enough height on my wall jump to flash shift straight across. I wasn't sure. Like, if I'd known, obviously I could have like not tried it, but unfortunately I didn't realise I was low, so I had to wait for the door to reopen. So this room, optimally, you do 2 pseudo waves now. I'm not actually sure how many people are doing that in runs yet. Like, I'm more than happy to just shoot those things legit. Though the good thing about it is that it's actually optimal, I think, to do this rather than the bomb jump. If you do the pseudos. Which is good for me, because I don't ever want to do that bomb jump. Hence me doing it slightly slower to skip it. It doesn't say, it only saves a couple of seconds, right, I think. You've got to set it up, like... I just mess up too many water bomb jumps to go for one that saves so little time when it's so risky. Like, you could fall further back down and end up losing more time than it was even going to save if I did it well. I think my the PV I'm running against here had a pretty solid mid-game here. Like, this is obviously a goal I'm against now. I think my Supers goal, split might have been a gold as well in this PV. Like, I'm definitely fighting to stay where I'm at, time-wise, at the moment. Like, up to and including my space jump split is really solid here. Like, I knew with this run, even at this point, I could lose time to there, but if I was still ahead after space, I'd be really happy. That's basically what I'm thinking at this point. Wasn't the cleanest kill there, but it was fine. Like, I'm definitely losing time versus this gold, no matter what, already. I got a pretty decent kill here. I missed a few shots there, but the enemy moved really slowly and I was able to kill it over the gap. Which saves a second or two in the next split. Yeah, this is actually not that far behind the gold either. Maybe losing about 5 seconds or something. Yeah, just over, which is fine. As I said, I was expecting to lose time over the course of these next handful of splits, but the goal is to still be ahead after screw attack. Space jump. Words. So I've messed that movement up a couple of times recently, so I was glad to nail that. Although I made a bit of a mess of climbing up here. That's fine. Again, the goal really with my runs is just to avoid huge time losses. Losing a couple of seconds in a room is whatever. The level I'm at, that's completely acceptable. Like, the initial movement after you get speed for the first time is some of my favourite in the game. You just get to run around everywhere and jump through walls, and it's really satisfying if you get it well. Obviously shine sparking as well. So I had a little bit of time saving this split, but obviously the robot fight in Ferenia here is a thing that I could still lose a bunch of time to if I mess it up. It's definitely a fight that I'm not perfect at. My goal really is just to get it into in 2 attempts at the Shine Sparks. That's all. Like, if I don't screw a Shine Spark up, it doesn't matter if I don't get them as fast as you possibly could. Like, I'm still happy enough with this setup, even though it's not as fast as it could be. He came right to me there, which has helped speed things up a little bit. I had to wait for him to climb up both times, though. Yeah, okay, so I got it in the 2 attempts I wanted there. There's another section of speed boost movement that I quite enjoy. It was more impressive back when I was going for those that 10 pack of missiles, which I've started skipping those a long time ago, but it is kind of cool to like wall jump up there with speed and then do the diagonal spark into them. I would still have got them as a backup if I'd messed up the previous pack just after we get speed. Like, I've done that a couple of times and lost my speed on the way there and not be able to get them, so I've had to attempt the backup there. I think I actually missed it both times. I missed the other one and didn't fail the backup as well. I had to try and fight Ravenbeak with 10 fewer missiles, which didn't go well for me, but luckily this time we just got them.
Uploading data.
I remember that wave beam block was there this time. Definitely a thing I've forgotten in the past and just walked into that room without a charge shot and been very silly. This room, I don't know. I don't like the movement at all, but I haven't figured out what's better. I often get stuck on the ceiling with those initial flash shifts. I get slowed down by that guy every time as well. I nearly overshot the flash shifts going to the elevator there. Luckily I was still on the switch, so it was, it was pressing down the whole time. And yeah, this did end up being a goal, didn't it? Oh no, it didn't quite. Okay. But again, it was probably within a couple of tenths of my old goal, so. Another really nice save, which is good. That's like the only split during this segment I was talking about, like this, this mid-game section, where I actually had meaningful time save. So, with regards to my goal of staying ahead after space jump, that was a nice split to give myself a buffer. I don't think I've ever done that before and messed up that, like, jumped too early there and screwed up. So here is like my favourite movement section in the entire game, like doing that there, then the next bit here. I kind of messed up the climb there, but whatever. That's like in between the 2 cool bits. This is probably actually like the best thing to see these like self-improvement there. Like when I first tried to learn the like the charge and then the movement and the ball spark there, I was terrible at it. And now I'm getting it nearly every time. It's a pretty bad Drogiga skip. It took me 5 attempts, I think. Ooh, 6 even. Yeah. I should be getting it in like 3 at most. I'm pretty good at that strat. And obviously up against a gold super split here as well, so. Like that's the easiest way to lose time in this split is with the bad Drogiga skip, so. Did cost myself a bit of time here, but nothing too serious. Like, the other thing is that obviously I'm still at a level where, like, none of my golds are anywhere near perfect. Like, I could still lose a moderate amount of time in the split and gold it if I do everything else well. That's probably not going to be the case here, but just in general, I haven't got to play perfectly by any stretch. This is another room that I just don't really like any of the strats in, so I just do whatever. I just try and find something that works for me. I should be countering those, I don't know why I'm not. I'll have enough health here just to tank the rest of these shots. I grappled that thing a bit too far to the left, so, you know, couldn't go super fast there, but I finally remembered what to do in this room, like, just to grab the thing at the start. This is one of the last rooms, probably, that I got used to anticipating. Like, I always used to go into the room and do the wrong thing. Like, I'd run to the right and try to jump up and realise what I was, like, where I was, and have to go back to the left and lose myself a couple of seconds to flailing around at the beginning, but I think that's actually true of a few rooms in this first gathering session. Like, there's a lot of rooms it took me a while to get to grips with the movement in. But yeah, here we are. We're losing... We lost about 10 seconds to this gold, but that's fine enough. So we're coming up absolutely on crunch time here for the end of this mid-game section. Like, this plasma split is 2 seconds off gold. My ice and my space are both golds. So yeah, we're definitely still on the plan of try to stay ahead after space. Yeah, and that's the movement in this room up as well, unfortunately. Like, it was just the timing of that first flash shift that was off. Like, the Ellen segment is pretty consistent. There's not a whole lot of, like, especially before, like, up to Plasma, there isn't that much that should be causing variance in time. None of the rooms are that complicated. I went a bit too early there and got bounced upwards. I mean, that is definitely another one of those rooms. I mean, there's just still a lot of them for me. Because I haven't put, you know, a bunch of time into the minutiae of the movement for that many rooms. But, like, one of those rooms where I'm just, like, not entirely sure what I should be doing. This is another one, really. Like, this is a bit of movement that I found reasonably well works for me, but it's not as quick as it could be. Oh, I'd forgotten this. Yeah, that... I just, like... I missed, you know, the plasma initially, then I'd obviously already started to, like, mash A to advance the text, so I flash shifted away and had to go back. Lost myself a few seconds there. Like, that, as I said, that split should be pretty consistent, so I shouldn't really be losing as much time as I did there to it, ever. That was a slightly annoying one. Like, it was basically nearly 10 seconds off gold in a split that is 2 minutes long. This fight was pretty decent. Like I said earlier, my mashing this run was pretty bad, but this fight went pretty solidly. It was probably my best mashing of the run. No fear running through that guy. I heard recently that, like, running or like someone in Discord said that running through that that monster dude on the way there can cause a crash, but I don't know, I'm still brave enough to do it, I suppose. I will say, touch wood, I have never had this game crash on me, ever. Like, not just during speedruns, but like, literally ever. So, yeah, I feel like I've definitely gotten lucky in that regard, because I know a lot of people have experienced them. Even in Escape, I've seen PBs lost in Escape. I almost instinctively went to skip that cutscene there. Like, it's not live, don't worry about it. I haven't got to do it now. Past me, missed it by about a second. But seriously though, who puts a cutscene in the middle of an elevator transition? That's not fair. You can't make me pay attention. That's supposed to be the downtime. I actually don't usually get the morph ball part of that speed movement there, so I kind of panicked. But I still avoided the Emmy, which is all that I care about here. Like, this is another split that when I was new to the game, I was losing big time to every time, because I was always getting caught by the Emmy, until I learned how to do, at least in part, the speed boost strat there. Like, I learned how to do it enough to keep me alive. Because all you really need to do is beat the Emmy to the door. That's your only real goal there, in terms of not losing big time. Oops. See, that was another example of me being bad at mashing there. Like, when I changed my grip, I used a different grip for mashing. As I changed my grip there, I actually hit the pause button. I find I'm a lot better at mashing in practice than I am in runs, just because I think it's like, it's just so much easier to go into a mashing section cold, in my opinion. Like, just like, you know, with your arms having not been doing anything for a while, just to go in and start doing it rather than having been doing a speedrun for an hour. Like, I found that. Not to spoil the end of this run, but prior to this run, certainly, I'd never gotten gold skip on Ravenbeak in a run, but my practice consistency is probably like 80%. Because, like, when I practice it, I just go in there, practice the segment, and that's it, right? Like, I haven't been doing a speedrun for an hour and a half beforehand. And, like, you know, wearing out my my arm during other gaming. That climb there was a bit awkward, but at least I got the shot. Oh, my stream appears to be... yeah, my internet's died. Oopsie doopsie. Reconnect, please. Just wiggle the antenna on the back of my PC. Okay. Internet's back. Hopefully the stream will get itself back up soon. Am I back? It says I'm in chat again. But OBS is not yet telling me that I'm live. Ah, there we go. Okay. Apologies for the technical difficulties there. My internet just dropped briefly, but we're fine. I'm local recording all this as well, so this is all intact. And we come back here in the worst part of the entire run, which is really annoying because I'm usually pretty consistent at early space. Like, this is This is a trick that I kind of pride myself on. Like, everyone else complains about it a lot, and I feel like I'm pretty consistent at it. And yeah, when it really counted here, I just lost a bunch of time to it, unfortunately. So yeah, as I was talking about, my goal here with this run was to still be ahead after Space Jump, and turns out we are just still ahead after Space Jump. By 2.2. Obviously, it would be nice to still be like over 30 seconds ahead, but what can you do? You know, I'm still ahead. The run continues. I'm too low there. Like I shouldn't have shot the guy there. I should have climbed up a bit first because he unthaws in time, and I almost repeated this mistake there, but at least I was high enough that time to actually space jump across to it. I hadn't broken the whole thing there. Like this segment as well is just a bit of a... just very sloppy. Like, obviously after I lost all that time I was a bit... I mean, not exactly tilted, but like, you know, after going... I went from a point where I was thinking like, this is going to be like a pretty easy PB to like, now it actually matters again, and, you know, I was a bit nervous. Like, obviously I'd already bled a bit of time by that point. Like, this run at its peak was like nearly a minute ahead, and it had already gotten back to 38 ahead after ice. But yeah, like, if I'd been more than 30 ahead after Space Jump, I'd have been absolutely delighted, given how strong my mid-game of that old PB was. But what can you do? You know, like, once that's happened, I've got to try and get my head back in this speed run and make the best of it. So my escape from Ferenia wasn't great there, but my movement subsequently has been fine. I mean, this screw attack segment is nothing too complicated until the end, like the actual room with screw attack in itself. Yeah, like again, just accidentally morphed there because some foolish designers decided to put slide and morph on the same button. Given how close to my gold this split in my PB here is, this is definitely a situation where I was resigning myself to time loss. Like, I was fully expecting to be behind after the segment now, after the mistakes I've made already. Well, actually, I'd probably get into this room fast enough for that to not necessarily be the case, but anyway, we'll see how this went. It's like I got the you know, the bomb jump the first time there, and I had to do like one extra jump there. That's all. So that's pretty solid. If I'd gotten a good ending here, we could actually have avoided losing very much time. Unfortunately, this bomb jump was a little bit awkward. Like, I think I just unmorphed too soon there. I'm pretty sure I had got the setup right, but I messed it up a second time. So unfortunately, you know, lost a bit more time there. That's a segment that can be a bit fiddly at the end there. So I'm not surprised to have lost a little bit of time, but obviously, like, after what had come before, it was a bit frustrating to be behind again. But now we get back into segments that actually have like real time save. I think the gravity segment here is the one left in the run that has the absolute most time save. Like, just straight up 40 seconds to save versus gold. So there's a really good opportunity here to get straight back into the run, be back to where the run was when it was well ahead before. So the first chunk of this gravity segment, maybe the first, actually more than half of it probably, is just like firing ourselves around the entire world map in teleporters. Like, it turns out the fastest way to get from Screw to Gravity is to do a complete world tour. It's like the only way to get to the, because we go to Gravity here, like, through the back door, basically. Like, we go through one of the Shine Spark puzzles that you use to get a missile pack, like one of the kind of 100% things, but yeah, it turns out it's also a backdoor to Gravity Suit. Again, I think this is probably a developer-intended shortcut, like Early Grapple is. Early Grapple is for sure. I'm pretty confident Early Gravity is as well. This is another section where I found the movement to be pretty awkward. It's just like, you can shoot most of these things, but like you need to kind of morph and slide at all the right times. That one's bomb only. I think this next one is as well. The end there went pretty smoothly. And I actually got this dumb Shine Spark this time. For whatever reason, I've missed it a couple of times recently. I'm not entirely sure why. I think maybe I was still holding a directional input when I tried to release it. Whereas this time I was super careful about that. Like, that's the thing with missing tricks. Is that in future you're kind of... Like, I feel like whenever you miss something in a run that's not that hard, you always get it the next time because you focus on it after you missed it. Like, that's just true of a lot of tricks in speedrunning. They, you know, if you just keep your focus, it becomes a lot easier. So I got the floor to break first try there. So if I could like get this all first try, we're actually on a really nice pace here. I thought I just missed that. Like, I thought that flash hit was just a little bit too low, and I was going to fall down, and that would have been pretty bad. But fortunately, it was just high enough to get through here. So now this split's really good. It's like we're looking at being comparable to gold here, you know, which obviously puts the run well back on course. I actually had decent health here, but I still made sure I killed these guys in accordance with the science I did after losing a run like a week ago. I'm still not entirely sure like how or why this works, but like you get the drops from those guys during this cutscene. And now I'm back at full health. Which led to me and certainly some other people mistakenly holding the belief that Gravity Suit fully healed you for a while. But I know how it works now, at least. I'm really happy with where I've gotten these robot fights too. Like, I've just figured out how I want to do the fight now. like lure this guy down here and you can just plasma them both in the easiest way possible. And this is why I make sure I'm at full health coming into here, because I'm going to damage boost forever. And yeah, look, they just both died immediately. Like, that's much quicker than the old trying to screw attack both strat. Because, like, plasma going through enemies means I can kill them both at the same time, rather than working on one and then the other. Like, I know a lot of people do also do the same sort of thing on the top level, but I find it to be a lot easier to do it where I do it there, on the lower level. Like, if you just lure the right-hand one down to you, then the left-hand one usually goes off to the far side, and then it's just perfect. Because you can't really get knocked down when you're stood there, because you're up against a wall as well. Like, if you try and do it on the top level, then the guy could attack you and knock you down, and then you're kind of just getting to the point where you're doing what I was doing anyway. Or trying to go back up there. That could be, you know, and then you get knocked down again. I got the speed slide there, and, you know, like, this is obviously a gold I could beat by a lot. So I still haven't ever gotten the perfect kill on this guy. Like, I've gotten, like, two Shine Sparks here. But then this third one here, I just, yeah, couldn't quite turn it up again. And you can try and do a Shine Spark again, but I didn't want to, like, risk having the fight get away from me completely, so I went for the missile strat. And luckily he did another attack there that didn't involve turning around, so I could just get the kill quite quick at that point. So I beat this gold by quite a lot here. Like, just over 10 seconds versus gold and 20 seconds versus PB there, which is really nice. Like, the run is now obviously, like, well back in pretty safe hands. So now at this point, where we're looking for is the wave split. Like, I did think at this point about just going for the, like, the medium version of the wave enemy kill, like the relatively safe version. But I put so much time into the, like, the fast version, or like I guess it's the second fastest version of the kill there is now, but you know, like the normal fast kill, that I thought I thought I was, like, committed to going for it. So, like, now we're looking for the wave split, and if I'm still doing well after then again, like before when I was saying if I was still ahead after space jump, it was good. Now if I'm still ahead after wave, it's good. Or I guess not even still ahead. Like, I should still be ahead no matter what. But it's if I can save the extra time I have to save in the wave split, the run becomes really good. And obviously, if I got killed by the wave enemy, I could still lose time. Like, my PB was pretty slow there, but it wasn't infinitely bad there. Hey, look, it's another room where I've actually, like, thought a bit about the movement there. I, you know, charge the cross bombs in advance and slide through that guy. I had the accidental morph there, but like, got the reverse grapple there first try. Assuming that the morph doesn't count as a try. Like, that's another case of me just, like, making a mistake consistently and putting my mind to working out what I was doing wrong, and it turns out what I was doing wrong was trying to, like, shoot the grapple too late. The timing is exactly the same as Stragiga Skip there. You just, like, it's the same principle where you do, like, the slide, the double turnaround, and then the shot. All pretty quickly. And I was just spacing out a bit too much. I accidentally morph in that room so many times. Like, again, that's just a case of, like, morph and sliding on the same button, and I tried to slide a little bit too late, so I was already off the platform, and so it became a morph. Like, it's possible I should have just, like, worked on a set of movement in that room where I didn't like try to go super fast. Like it could definitely be a situation of like more haste, less speed there, right? Where by trying to go fast, I'm making mistakes that are costing me a few seconds. Got stuck on the wall there as well. But this is definitely not vintage movement in this section. Like, because of, like, how all of the hard late game stuff... Like, there's a bunch of, you know, ME kills and boss fights and stuff that are actually difficult. That's where most of my late game practice went. Which means I have neglected late game, like, movement. Like, you could definitely tell that I know in early game rooms exactly what all my movement is going to be. Like, I know when I come into a room exactly how I'm moving through it. And in the late game, I kind of don't. I'm improvising some stuff because I've put most of my time into fights. Though not that fight. That fight is actually trivial. I completely kicked my ass on my casual playthrough as well. Like, this by far the boss fight that gets the easiest in the speedrun versus casually. Just because we have screw attack. Like, the screw attack makes it free. I guess it's partly screw attack and partly, like, knowing to charge a Shine Spark going into the room, which you probably wouldn't do generally casually. I had all the Storm Missile blocks behave on me in this run as well, which is really nice. I do the same principle with my fight here as well, although this time you can get knocked further down. So I think I just end up like reverting to some screw attacks here, I can't really remember. Or no, I do it down here, that's right. Yeah, then this one approaches me and I go for screws. Like, there probably was a better way I could have done that fight slightly, but I'm pretty content with what happened there. Oh, I guess I golded Storm as well, I kind of glossed over that, but... Like, despite the movement errors. That's another segment I've kind of never done perfectly. And yeah, again, the Storm Missile block was treating me right. Like, sometimes you just don't get a hit on one of them for whatever reason, have to recharge and do it all again. Lose yourself a few seconds, but... yeah, all three of them were fine. Another accidental morph there, which meant I couldn't, like, quickly charge beam this thing. But here we go, crunch time. The Wave ME fight. Central unit there is obviously free. Like, one Shine Spark and one Screw Attack is enough to take the whole thing out. It's like, prior to this run, I'd only ever gotten the fast wave ME kill in a run successfully first try once. And, so that meant that I didn't really know how good my gold was here. Like, obviously, I've only gotten the quick version of the kill once, so that's my gold. Whether I did it well or not so well, the one time I got it. Okay, so I was panicking so much after I messed that up and didn't get the thing first try, but I was still quick enough here that I was content I could do it. Like, I got enough damage on the guy on the way through the tunnel there, but I'm pretty sure I'm doing fine at this point. It was a bit nerve-wracking because I have thrown so many runs down here, but like, at this point, I know I've got it. It is quite tight, but I know I've got it. So yeah, I was obviously like looking at my timer at this point and working it out that this was going to be another small gold. So now the run has become really good. So at this point, I know I cannot bleed enough time to cost myself a PB. So it's purely, like, don't throw it, right? Like, don't die to anything. Like, there's two Chozo fights and Ravenbeak that could all potentially kill me if I'm sloppy. And if I avoid that, then I get a pretty big PB for quote-unquote free. And, like, obviously if I'd, I'm also thinking at this point, if I'd, like, tie my my gold here for this segment, and then get gold skip on Ravenbeak, I could, I think, still potentially just get a 127. I'm not really sure. Like, I know I'm on, like, a solid 128 pace if I don't botch anything too hard. Oh my god, is that what my my auto mod big follows does? It just started out. I shouldn't it would ban people. So anyway, like halfway through this fight, my mashing kind of abandons me a bit here. Like my rhythm is really bad. I'm now in the point where I think I'm dead to one hit from this like shot. Whatever you would want to call it, the par, whatever. So I was a bit scared there. That wasn't a particularly good fight, but I got through it alive. That's basically the game we're playing now. Well, I guess I was kind of like juggling, you know, make sure not to die versus still try and go fast enough to get the 128. Because, like, obviously, like, my goal was the sub, you know, the sub 130, so I know I could afford to lose a fair bit of time and still get that, like a minute. But, you know, like, I would have liked to have gotten the 128, so I'm kind of in two minds about what I was trying to do at the end of this run here. Thanks for the ban there, Matt. For some reason I thought, like, when I put big follows in my auto mod thing and assumed that that would, like, not let people post it rather than just blurring it out. I make a mess of this as well. Like, I don't fully charge my power bomb, and then I try and release my shine spark too quickly there to... Because I knew I was being slow, so I was worried I'd, like, run out of charge. But I ended up releasing too soon. So after my mashing kind of let me down in the previous Chozo fight, I was pretty scared about this one. I still tanked the first hit there, which I think is fine. Well, I didn't get as much damage in as I should have anyway. Luckily he goes for that early, and I get to get the shield out the way. Which certainly helps, but like he should be moving on to the next phase. Okay, he does now, but he should have been like doing that a few seconds sooner. If my mashing had been better. And then I accidentally hit the morph button there. So now I'm terrified. I'm like dead in one hit to anything at this point. But we got through it. Though I am losing a decent chunk of time here. I'm actually like already losing time versus my PB. So if you're paying attention, you'll see my my old PB there is a 1:30:23, and I'm now 1 minute 24 ahead. So I'm on the absolute knife edge for the 128. So now I really, really want to get this gold skip on Ravenbeak, because that would again make the 128 free. Though I obviously do have, I have time save here anyway. Like, my gold hasn't got gold skip. I've never gotten it in a run. So I've got that, like, 23 seconds a potential time save anyway, but that would require me to have a really good fight, so... I was really hopeful he goes straight for the parryable attack right there. I could get a really fast first phase. But he goes for it pretty early still. Well, my mashing just lets me down again there. And I don't quite get the gold skip, unfortunately. And he goes for like a bunch of other attacks here. So I think I got like nowhere near enough damage on him actually. Because if I'd gotten close, it should have been like getting to this attack really quickly. But anyway, I get enough damage during this parry cutscene, so I still don't have to face the gold phase. So it's a pretty solid backup. You know, I'm not getting the huge time save I could have gotten, but I'm still in good shape here. I'm missing a few missiles here, but for the most part this phase is fine. Yeah, it would have been nice to like land one or two extra of these. And to get this attack more often. Like, once the cheese for that attack got found, it's just the best attack you can get, because you can just stand there and shoot him forever, rather than having to avoid anything. And there we are onto the final phase. I kind of messed up the avoiding those lasers there, but not a huge deal. Like I was at full health coming to this phase, so like I decided just to tank some more of these. Like I know I'm getting enough damage in here. Yeah, I've gotten more damage than I thought I had at the time, I think, because I shouldn't have gone for this this parry, for sure. Like, he was obviously going to die during this cutscene, and I'd have to just watch the rest of it. Anyway. So there we go. We saved 1 extra second versus Ravenbeak, that's all. And now I'm up against a gold escape here, knowing that I'm, like, like fighting for my life for the 128. So I go for the shot when I normally go for it here. Like I didn't want to blow the run by trying to like wait too long. So the thing about this fight, I call it a fight. You press one button. But like if you start shooting later and when he's already moved towards you, it goes quicker. Like it's based on when he gets close to you. But obviously if you start pressing the button too late, then he gets too close and eats you. So like, I decided not to, like, you know, press the button half a second later and risk the entire run in order to try and, you know, give myself some extra leeway to get the 128. So here I got drawn in by that guy a little bit, which I was really, really scared that was gonna cost me the 128. Like every little thing matters now. Like I'm kind of tentatively going for a lot of the slides off platforms here, because like I know that if I accidentally morph, like I've often done before, that probably would cost me a 128. But I still want to try and save those frames to make sure I do get it. If I knew the speed booster strat for this last room, it would be a lot easier, but again, that's a bit of movement that I haven't put time into yet. Bam! And there we have it. I've retimed this this video, and it is a 128, just 128.59 point something kind of low. I think it's at about like 17 frames or something. So about like 0.3. And there we go. That was the speed run. I was really really happy with that. Like really, like the Phantom Cloak split and the Space Jump split are the only splits in that run that I'm really unhappy with. Everything else was, you know, either solid or great. So yeah, I can't complain about that at all. Really happy with this time, and I'm going to be done with Metroid Dread for the time being. Right, so that's that for the video.